Do I get Grecian formula for my beard?
No.
Like, huh.
What, you turn
Huh.
it into a Las Vegas entertainer?
Well, our man Russ Landy would say, just use some mascara. Use some
Oh,
mascara and
I use
see
mascara on
Gucci.
Halloween. Well, the Thursday before Halloween.
It's pro tip. Pro tip. All the gray hair from being Steelers fans,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about silver and black. The Raiders getting it done 31-26 over the Chargers, and Derek Carr out there not feeling good, jumping around, making plays happen. 13-23, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. The touchdowns go to Nelson Aguilar, 2 for 55 and a touch. Darren Waller, 5 for 22 and a touch. Hunter Renfrow, 2 catches, but 60 yards. 53-yarder on the big one. Henry Ruggs continues to do nothing. 3 targets, 0 catches. Josh Jacobs, 14 for 65 and a touch. Devontae Booker, 8 for 68 and a touch. So, getting into weekly, what the heck flex value for Devontae Booker, which, kind of says everything you need to know. But anyway, the Raiders get this win and they jump out to such a big lead, especially at halftime. They weren't leading at halftime. The Chargers roared back, but the Raiders seemed to control this thing early, had to surge back to continue to hold on to this lead. We'll get to the Chargers in a little bit and all the good stuff around there and surprising stuff. But what did you think of the Raiders today?
Yeah, and we saw some vertical passing. We saw Devontae Booker play a larger role. Darren Waller make a few clutch plays. Derek Carr still playing well. They didn't exactly open up the offense for him. A high-scoring, back-and-forth, wild and woolly game, kind of as we expected, even though the passing game output wasn't necessarily there for the Raiders. And, see, I think it's the idea that these teams are pretty close to each other. They're pretty close to each other in terms of competitiveness. Certainly, the Chargers without Joey Bosa, Colton Miller out for the Raiders. Also, Chargers missing Derwin James. So I think that with the Raiders, you felt like Derek Carr, there was more there for him, but the running game was good. And we continue to watch Devontae Booker play better than he did at any point in his Broncos career. And it's just something to watch to see if he continues to run with this pep. If they don't make this into a little more of a multiple backfield, Henry Ruggs, for everything it looked like he was going to be early in the season, not really a cornerstone of this offense. Hunter Renfrow actually getting the other big downfield catch here as Derek Carr extended a play. And can we say it's exciting for Raiders fans right now, Cease? Because they get a win against a team that is in that same tier, just like they did against the Browns last week. It wasn't pretty, just like the Browns last week. But we look ahead at the schedule here for the Raiders, and it's doable. Denver next week, Kansas City, who they already beat, Atlanta, the Jets, Indianapolis, another game with the Chargers, Miami, and they finish up with Denver. So it's really right there for the Raiders to go back to the playoffs, and John Gruden and Mike Mayock to feel like their project is on schedule. And there's a whole alternate reality, Cease, where we feel like the Chargers are on schedule, but Anthony Lynn.
Anthony Lynn, ladies and gentlemen, make sure nothing's pulling on your machine, Bloom, because it's bugging out a little bit. Peyton, see, there's no Peyton go, oh, man, come on, Bloom. Get that internet down there in New Orleans. Oh, okay. Now the Chargers side of things, which includes Justin Herbert. Oh, Justin Herbert. What we love to see about this young kid out there slinging it, 28-42, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. The touchdowns go like this: 9 for 103 and a touch to Keenan Allen. And then Gabe Neighbors, 1 for 4 and a touch there as well. Mike Williams, 5 for 81 on 7 targets. Tyron Johnson, I think he has 2 catches in his career, Bloom. Is that right? Yeah. But it's for like 106 yards. He had a catch for 50 yards today. Hunter Henry, 4 for 33. So, tight ends. The struggle target doesn't exist for Justin Herbert because he throws it to like 9 different guys every week, 9 times. And, okay. Kalen Ballage. Okay. We know Tremaine Pope banged up in that Broncos game. They've got Justin Jackson. They've got Joshua Kelly, but it was Kalen Ballage with 15 for 69 and a touchdown today. Okay. So the Chargers gonna Charger, Bloom, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, finding new ways to lose games. And for the second week in a row, the Chargers have a play where it looks like they won, but they lost. And I don't know what to say. You're right that Herbert gives us an interesting equation as a quarterback because usually that goal line fade, I feel like that's a low percentage play. But we had 2 in a row. Mike Williams got shaken up on it. And Isaiah Johnson, a player the Raiders like a lot, breaking up both of these. And then Donald Parham. And Herbert's ball placement is impeccable on this. Like you said, there's no struggle target for him because he's just going to remain aggressive-minded. And for fantasy, he comes through again. Justin Jackson doesn't come through. And we know that the Chargers had shaky trust in him. That's why they take Joshua Kelly. Not that Kelly is blowing him off the field, but Jackson promptly leaves on injury. And like you said, Kalen Ballage. Kalen Ballage is back. Maybe another player, he gets a double Gase effect points, kinda, sorta. I mean, I don't know, because he did play with the Dolphins and the Jets, and just pure athleticism. We know he's got it, and that was able to work for some fantasy production here. So we're gonna watch this going into the matchup with Miami next week. Although they did a good job corralling Chase Edmonds, we'll talk about that. Keenan Allen. Again, going into the season, we think Anthony Lynn, Tyrod Taylor, it's a down year for Keenan Allen. Instead, he should have been a first-round pick. I mean, he should have been a top 5 wide receiver. That's what he is right now. Mike Williams had a good week until, again, it's Mike Williams. So Mike Williams exists. He's on that high wire between making a spectacular game-winning score and getting hurt. And that's, these are the two sides to Mike Williams. And we'll see. How does a team play so many different types of teams straight up and find these creative ways to lose? It really makes you wonder about curses. It makes you wonder if the ownership have some sort of curse on them that they have transferred across coaches, across quarterbacks. I saw a stat, Anthony Lynn's 28-28, and 21 of the 28 losses have been one-score losses.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, you have Chase Stewart and Justice Mosqueda, and people come in and say one-score losses is one of the most malleable things in football. But year after year after year, it breaks against the Chargers. Hopefully, Justin Herbert can be somebody that breaks that curse. Again, very interesting matchup next week as they go down to Miami.
There's the old saying, looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And it's like, okay, Anthony Lynn, a fine man, an outstanding mind for football. But this is just who you've got.
Yeah.
This is who he is. So, you want to keep going with that, or do you want to take that next step? Because obviously your quarterback's ready. The quarterback ready with Tua. Wanted to see it with Tua Bloom. We didn't see it last week. So we were like, what the hell is... I don't know. I like Tua. I think he can be the man, and we didn't get to see it. Well, we got to see it this week. 34-31. Tua versus Kyler. It's Dolphins over the Cardinals. Cardinals now 5-3. Dolphins now 5-3. Tua Tagovailoa 20-28, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns, no INTs, was sacked 3 times. Devontae Parker 6 for 64. Preston Williams 4 for 60 and a touchdown. Did get banged up. Bloom, give us the latest. Mac Hollins saying, take that, Eagles. 1 for 11 and a touchdown. Mike Gesicki 3 for 42. Jakeem Grant 4 for 35 in this one. Jordan Howard gets a rushing touchdown and averages less than 3 yards a carry.
Exactly.
less
than a yard and a half a carry.
Right. So Tua gets 35 yards rushing. Okay. But you feel in watching Tua just kind of a calm over this offense. They can't run the ball. They just can't. But yet Tua's out there, and like kind of a Justin Herbert, who's the struggle target? He's spreading it around. He's looking at all different levels. He's making full field reads. He's doing stuff in 2 games that Drew Lock has yet to do in 11 games. It is a Broncos show. But I loved what I saw from Tua Bloom, and it's just the start of things to come.
Yeah, you go and win in Arizona. And remember, Arizona plays Buffalo next week, so we're going to get a yardstick to compare these two. This season's not even close to over going to Tua. And like you said, Cease, you see him as the calm in the eye of the storm, which he's always possessed, and he fits this team. Don't you want to be part of this team, Cease? Like, don't you want to be part of something like this team in your life? Can't you feel these guys, whereas they were laughing stocks last year? There were times that really every week we could count on the Dolphins claiming 2 or 3 players. Whoever the other teams in the NFL, the other 31 teams were saying, you're not good enough for our roster. The Dolphins say, you might be good enough for our roster. And we saw it the change where some of the players the Dolphins were letting go this offseason were getting picked up by other teams. And remember, this team is sitting on Houston's 1st and 2nd round pick on top of all this. and they're going to have a high pick next year without a need for a quarterback, which means cha-ching, trade down possibilities. Keep pushing that forward, that extra draft capital while cashing in. It all sounds very Belichickian, doesn't it? Brian Flores. And they said that Brian Flores, even down to the personnel side, truly was the Belichick disciple in a way that none of these other guys have been. So this is something that's fun to watch. How can you not root for this team when you watch them? Salvin Ahmed, the athlete. We'll see. DeAndre Washington's going to be involved in this next week. Jordan Howard, 8 for 10 and a touchdown. Pure Jordan Howard lines. See, there's a game where you had to guess the player from the stat line. We'd all guess Jordan Howard on the first guess every time. And Preston Williams playing well in this one, comes out with a mid-foot sprain. Those are tricky. Hopefully not a fracture or anything like that. We'll have to watch that. Makes Devontae Parker a little better. Maybe Mike Gesicki a little better. Jakeem Grant. But this team, they don't have to get a lot done on offense. They're very efficient, though, and they're getting help from their defense. And they're a whole team effort. Again, this really wild, interesting matchup against the Chargers next week. And otherwise, this is just going to be a fun team to watch down the stretch because after the Chargers, Denver, Jets, Cincinnati, but then in the playoffs, Kansas City, New England, and Vegas finishing out with Buffalo. So we'll see really where they are. If they're a team that are a playoff team ahead of schedule, they should go through that upcoming schedule like a hot knife through butter.
Like a hot knife through Sigmund's modem. It's really...
I got to get that hard. I'll open it up and
hardwire internet connection coming up for the next show. The big show. Kyler Murray had 3 touchdowns, 283 yards. The 3 touchdowns are like this: Christian Kirk 5 for 123 and a touch. Darrell Daniels 1 for 21 and a touch. Nobody started him. Max Williams was back. Nobody started him either. 1 for 4 and a touchdown. Fans were like, "What's going on with DeAndre Hopkins? 3 for 30 in this one." And then there's Kyler Murray, the rusher, 106 yards. And a rushing touchdown, of course. Chase Edmonds, 25 for 70. Also 3 for 18 as a receiver. So PPR leagues, that's enough. It's enough. It's not great, but it's enough. And the Cardinals fall short in this one.
Because of a kick that falls short by Zane Gonzalez, as Jason Sanders, I believe, has made 20 in a row for Miami. The difference here is the long field goals at the end. Kyler Murray's just spectacular as a runner and showed he could evolve as a passer in this one, finding Christian Kirk, as Xavier Howard did a good job on DeAndre Hopkins. Nice touchdown, nice play by Darrell Daniels. And Christian Kirk really at this point is looking like someone we're going to leave in our lineup the rest of the way home, as next week it'll be Tre'Davious White against DeAndre Hopkins. At least Chase Edmonds held up under the workload. Didn't do a lot. Benjamin not even active for this one. DJ Foster. We're looking forward to Benjamin. DJ Foster, actually, the backup here. And there's a lot of silver lining here for Arizona. Kyler Murray is a passer. Kyler Murray is a runner. But at the same time, obviously, there's flaws in this defense. It was Emmanuel Ogbah, by the way, getting home on Murray, and another defensive touchdown for the Dolphins. So you're loving that in your team defense leagues. Miami at this point evolving into a defense we're going to leave in every single week. Now we have Arizona, even though this is a success and the team is better than last year and Kyler Murray's better than last year, etc., it's going to be tough in that NFC West because of the quality of those teams. So again, that game next week, Buffalo coming to town. Buffalo just beat Seattle, who Arizona beat. So it's going to be another game where it may come down to kickers. It may come down to a big play by one of those two talented quarterbacks. I know this. When these kinds of quarterback battles come together, it's some of the best TV in the NFL this year.
Do you believe us now? Do you believe us now? I've had friends of Mike Tomlin, who shall go unnamed, Nick Ferguson, who have asked me, like, why am I so hard on Mike Tomlin? Like, what, Cecil, what do you have against Mike Tomlin? And I say, he always coaches down to his competition, and he's got 1 ring. So you've had incredible talent, and you have 1 ring. You need to have more. You need to be better. Steelers stay undefeated, but barely against the Cowboys. 24-19, the final score. They are 8-0. Cowboys fall to 2-7. And Bloom, what's the old saying? The saying is the days go by slow and the years go by fast. So I've been making sure every single week to kind of just soak in Ben Roethlisberger, right?
Sure.
Because all the quirky, he's like that uncle you see. I got my Uncle Wayne, right? I haven't seen him actually since my grandmother passed, which would be 10 years ago, something like that. But like anytime you see him, you show up, you pick up where you left off. It's the same old, he still loves Nebraska football. Like I still get a razz him about that. And he drives a Dodge and blah, blah, blah. So I get a razz him about that because I'm a Ford guy. But it's like you pick up where you left off. It's a comfy feeling, right? You just go, hey, it's the same thing. And so when Ben gets his face smashed in or his leg bent over or some sort of crick in his neck and my back, and he's like Ezel from Friday, and he goes to the locker room or he's carted off or something, he's going in the tent, and then he comes back out like Willis Reed, which nobody remembers. Even I wasn't born when Willis Reed came back out. But anyway, like I'm just appreciating it because when, you know, he may retire next year or whatever, he may not even be healthy enough to finish, but it's just like appreciate it. Still get frustrated, still get the gray hairs from the Pittsburgh Steelers, but okay, enjoy Ben Roethlisberger, who leaves the game. Oh my God, he's been knocked out. And then he's back. 306 yards, 3 touchdowns in this one. Juju Smith-Schuster, 6 for 93 and a touch. Eric Ebron, 3 for 22 and a touch. James Washington, 1 for 17 and a touch. Chase Claypool, 8 for 69. And so PPR leagues, that's enough. Deontay Johnson, 6 for 77 in this one. And then a lot of fans are like, what in the hell is happening with James Conner? 9 for 22. I had Benny Snell as what the heck flex. Like, hey, they get up on the Cowboys and then they hand it over to Benny Snell, run the ball. And so the things that you thought would happen, one, they would win. That did happen. But the things you thought would happen, like what a fantasy day, start your Steelers, everybody in. And, well, some guys came through, but not everybody.
Yeah. Look it up. I don't know what year it was, Cecil, like 2003, 2004, when the Steelers lost to the Texans, like 24-6, even though they outgained them by like 3 times the yards. The Steelers have a gift for this. They just have a gift for playing teams. My father, 83-year-old Sigmund L. Bloom, was talking to him during this game, Cecil. He called me during the game because he said before the game he was terrified of this one. And my dad has done his share of gambling and then some in his life. And he said, we never like 14-point favorites. Let me tell you, son, we never, ever, ever like 14-point favorites. So remember, my dad taught me how to read a racing form when I was like 8. And it sort of prepared me for fantasy football, right? It's because the jockey's 120 pounds. He was 122 pounds last time out. Steelers. And since I told you the story about going to that Pittsburgh-Dallas game in 2004, again, down 2 scores in the fourth quarter. Eerie. Roethlisberger was a rookie. So like you said, savor it. Roethlisberger, dramatic, of course. I mean, let's face it, for all the things we can say about Ben Roethlisberger, he always makes sure anybody knows if anything's hurt, you know? Like a kid. I need a Band-Aid, ouchie. You know, that's Roethlisberger for you.
How's that feel? Huh?
Yeah,
you're okay.
You're okay. Can you walk? Is it still attached? You're okay, Ben. And he was okay. And because the Steelers fell behind in this one, all 3 of the receivers were good in PPR leagues. And you can see, I don't want to say that Juju Smith-Schuster is a struggle target, Cease, but when he needs to play, it's Juju.
Yeah.
And so enjoy that. Then Juju might not have either of these guys in Steelers uniforms next year. You will have Chase Claypool, who, you know, had some moments that I'm sure could have been better, but he's still just getting started. Deontay Johnson, hey, didn't get hurt in this one. Made a few plays, key plays, especially a tightrope down the sideline. And there wasn't much there for the running game. And Dallas's defense is discovering some pride in the way they're playing. This is something we have to reconsider maybe down the stretch. Because the Steelers were playing from behind, the passing game came through for us in fantasy, but Dallas's defense isn't quite the pushover, at least against the run. And then Eric Ebron sees. Whenever he was signed, I thought, no, not Ebron with the game on the line. With the game on the line, he not just makes the catch, but hurdles a defender into the end zone. So that's the kind of day it was. You know, it was a nightmare, but at the same time, it was, at the end, a W. You cherish all the road W's in the NFL. And, I mean, this is something as Steelers fans that we get very used to. What's the opposite of a moral victory? See, some moral loss. It counts, I don't know, but it counts the same in the standings. And it certainly gives us something to think about when the Cincinnati comes to town next week. Don't take that one too lightly. Joe Burrow is pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Hoi. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, Garrett Gilbert was in for the Cowboys at quarterback. 243 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT, sacked a couple of times. CeeDee Lamb gets a touchdown, 4 for 71, and a touch. In this contest, Amari Cooper, 5 for 67, also carried for 8 yards. Dalton Schultz, 4 for 48. Michael Gallup, 3 for 36. Ezekiel Elliott did play, 18 for 51, and then 2 for 18 as a receiver. Tony Pollard with the big 20-yard run pads his stats to go 9 for 57 on the ground, also a catch for a yard, which does count. And the Cowboys make it a little scary for Steelers fan, and then that's it.
And hey, in their division, I mean, still a contender. But this felt like their Super Bowl. And Dallas-Pittsburgh has given us 3 of the best Super Bowls ever. So that kind of makes sense, right? You could tell that they had really poured a lot into this game emotionally. Garrett Gilbert actually executed extremely well in this game. Garrett Gilbert made himself some money in this game. Mm-hmm. He showing he belongs. He's bounced around the league. He belongs as an NFL backup quarterback if he can come in against a very tough defense without his starting tackles and do this. You saw, a pulse for Amari Cooper, a pulse for CeeDee Lamb, who did have a fumble in this one, but otherwise played well. A pulse for Dalton Schultz. Got Michael Gallup, the guy who's kind of left out here. And then Ezekiel Elliott, he played. And look, I'm not saying that it's the ultimate comparison here because of the hamstring for Zeke. But will they use Tony Pollard more now? I don't care how much money you paid Ezekiel Elliott. Tony Pollard adds an element to this offense, especially now, especially without Dak Prescott, that they need. I mean, this team, for everything that we're going to say and boo-hoo as Steelers fans about this season, Mike McCarthy actually did a good job. They actually came in with a game plan, a winning game plan here. And if they'd executed a few more times, it would have worked. And they were a vastly overmatched team in this game. Where's that inspired game planning when you have Dak Prescott? Where's that inspired play when you should be the favorite to win the division? I don't know. But you do see with Tony Pollard more involved, if this team is going to win games, they're going to have to do it by making stops on third down. They're going to have to string together long drives. This isn't going to be a vertical pass offense with these offensive tackles. Tony Pollard is a key player to that. So will we see rational coaching? Dallas goes into the bye. They have time to think about it. So they get the moral victory, the Pyrrhic victory here. We'll see. Mike McCarthy, for the first time after game C, so I'm not going to say, fire McCarthy. He actually did an okay job in this one. The former Western Pennsylvania native. Well, he's still a native. What am I talking? How can he be a former native? Birth certificate, right?
Right. Ooh. Check it out. Check it out. Oh, boy. What did we learn, Bloom? What do I always say in this? Where you're not going to choose the play you're in, you're going to choose your role.
Yeah.
What I always say, what are you here to learn? Well, so week 9 has me going, what the hell did I learn? Because I thought Seattle would have their way with Buffalo. That didn't happen. I thought Denver might actually be able to have some momentum. Well, that didn't happen. I thought the Steelers would handle the Cowboys, and that didn't happen. So, Bloom, what did we learn?
I don't know. I would say we learned this, East, but it was just a reminder that quarterback play still comes back down to quarterback play. The Cowboys were the better team, but Ben Roethlisberger was the better quarterback. You saw Tua Tagovailoa and how that is elevating what Miami can do now. You saw Josh Allen and what that's doing for Buffalo. Even Justin Herbert in the loss. Even Derek Carr, who's playing better. I think the quarterback play typified a lot of the things that happened. Again, we see these extra chapters on teams like the Chargers. The Falcons gave us a little bit of a hot and bothered moment at the end. Drew Lock, I think we can see where Denver is now. Looking ahead, the Miami-Buffalo stretch run is going to be exciting. Indy-Tennessee stretch run is going to be exciting. Pittsburgh-Baltimore stretch run is going to be exciting. Vegas is going to be a fun spoiler team. We'll see Green Bay, see if they can tune things up for the playoffs. We're going to watch Tampa and New Orleans here. That's going to define some things for us. You look at the division, Seattle and the Rams. If the Rams can win that game at home next week, all of a sudden that division potentially turns upside down, especially if Buffalo comes into Arizona and wins. So we're halfway through the season, a little past halfway through the NFL season, more than halfway through the fantasy season. And I think it comes back to quarterback play. And also, I think you're seeing teams, some of the programs are coming along. Some of the programs like Carolina, we're excited to see where they're headed. Chargers, we're excited to see where they're headed. But in the end, it's a lot of the same teams we expected to be at the top, because of those great quarterbacks. So we'll savor one more Ben Roethlisberger, great comeback win. But we also look forward to this new generation of quarterbacks, Kyler and Josh Allen and Tua and Russell Wilson, Herbert. Yeah, it's exciting. It's for the first time, Cease, I can honestly say I look ahead to the NFL, and I think there's lots of great duels and afternoons ahead with the quarterbacks we've gotten in the league in the last 2 or 3 years.
And I was so worried about quarterback play declining,
Right.
when Rodgers, Brady, Ben retire, and it gives you great hope for the future of this league, especially with the way that offensive coordinators, except Pat Shurmur, have all embraced the new quarterback and have worked towards that. By the way, this one's for our man Jacob in the chat room. React to me as we wrap up tonight's program. It is the Week 9 recap here on the Audible, everyone. It's the footballguys.com podcast. Hey, you love the show, you want to support the show, do all those YouTube things, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you never miss a vid, and check out footballguys.com for all your fantasy football information. Check out our free daily newsletter written by Sigmund, me, and Joe Bryant. That's free, comes in your inbox every day with all the hottest NFL news right there, our opinions attached with said email. So it's our Football Guys Daily newsletter. Thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for listening. iTunes, Apple Music, whatever the hell it's called now, Spotify. The numbers are outstanding. It's amazing, truly humbling to have so many millions and millions, tens of millions of downloads each and every season on those platforms. So he's Sigmund Bloom. You follow him on Twitter at Sigmund Bloom. I am at Cecil Lammey. The show is at the Audible. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned. And as always, you better stay frosty.